This is the first episode of Make in Tech podcast. Today we have Sarvesh as our guest, and he's going to talk about his journey from a tier 3 college student with 7 backlogs to career in computer science, and like how he got his first job, and like now he's working at InVideo. So, hey Sarvesh, how are you?
Hey Rohan, very well, very well.
Okay. Uh, so I met Sarvesh in college. We were in same college. We were classmates. And Sarvesh, why don't you first introduce yourself? Like, what do you do? And yeah.
Okay, so hi, I am Sarvesh, and I basically currently am working as a mobile engineer at InVideo. So I started my career as a software engineer 3 years back in 2017, 4 years back now in 2017. Gradually moved, hopped, learned a lot of things, kept a lot of things in the past, and tried to build from what I had learned so far and moved ahead. Yeah. So yeah, that is basically the gist of it.
So, mobile engineer, as in, like, do you do iOS or Android, or do you work on both?
Yeah. So my primary skill is iOS development. In the past few months, I have dribbled a bit in Kotlin. Have learned a bit about Android development. Uh, I try to learn a bit about design stuff also, although I'm not very good at it. But dwelled into it, dived into it sometimes, and yeah.
Mhm. You didn't tell which company you're working for.
Oh, okay. So I am working for a company called InVideo, which is basically a video editing platform online. The main goal of InVideo is to harness the power of server-side video editing
Mhm.
instead of doing video editing on a certain device.
Yeah. So, I wanted to move to like the tier 3 college part and the and the backlogs part.
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
when you were in like third year, right, or second year, when you had
Second year, yeah,
backs and like they were not
yeah.
allowing you to sit in college placements. So, what
Yeah.
was your like expectations with career at that moment, and like what was your thinking, like how was your journey from college to like getting your job?
The journey, the point of view that I had while at my lowest point in college, it was dystopian. The world was completely dystopian for me. So what happened was ki I reluctantly joined a tier 3 college called JECRC Jaipur, and there I met all of these brilliant people. And so I started off as a reluctant student. I was not interested in academics at all, mainly because I didn't like the college. I had plans for doing better things in life. I wanted to reappear for my JEE exams. I wanted to reappear for my BITSAT examinations and stuff like that. So I was not focused on college at all. My first year, my first year went by. I mean, I was able to manage. I passed. I got something like 65 percentage aggregate and stuff like that. And then in my second year of college is when I lost most of my focus, mainly because I had plans of I had very high career expectations about myself. I wanted to be a transfer student and get admitted to colleges like Amherst, MIT, Harvard. Although I didn't study too hard for it. I didn't do things which would qualify me to study there and stuff like that. But yeah, so I in my third semester examinations, I got 3 backlogs. But the thing was key. Almost all of the people in the college in the third sem, they all got backlogs. So I was very okay with it. Ki, no issues. Everyone has backs. I have backs too, and I was very chill. I didn't study because I was not motivated to study at all. Also, the thing was the kind of curriculum that we had. It was mostly just rotting. It was like 20 years old, and we had to learn our way, basically memorize everything. We didn't learn anything at all. The conceptual clarity wasn't there at all. The teachers, I mean, I'm not picking up any particular person, but most of the teachers in such colleges, they don't focus to make you a learner. They focus on making you more disciplined in terms of uh, making sure that you're attending 70% of the classes, making sure that you're quiet in the class. Sometimes when students asked a few questions which weren't in the teacher's scope of knowledge, the teachers got irritated. So all these things, they didn't help me get motivated to study at all. And as a result of which, in my fourth semester, I used to play games. Basically, till 3 in the night, I was playing quiz up with my friends, who 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 got four backlogs along with me. One of my friend, he basically failed in all the six subjects,
Mhm.
and yeah, that was the point. So after the results got announced for the fourth semester, I was at my home. There was this friend of mine. We both know him very well, Chaitanya. So
Okay.
he called me. He called me and he told me that the results have been announced. And I saw his result. He passed. I was happy. And then I saw my result and I was shocked beyond measures. And it was at that point in time that I felt that I had been a good student throughout. I was able to manage. I got A2 grades, A1 grades till 12th class and all. This was the first time in my life that I felt that I've actually failed. I have actually done something wrong with myself. And then looking at other people around me, looking at the way the other people were approaching the things. The placements were to be held in the sixth semester, and the results of the fourth semester backlog examinations, they didn't come till the seventh semester. So most of the placements, I wouldn't have been able to sit in them. So I felt that I'm in deep shit now. Now what the hell can I do from here? What the heck should I do? So I had a good network of friends, which were really helpful. I asked them. I started asking a lot of friends, ki, bro, this is my situation. I have fallen into this deep shit. What is the way to come out of it? So while I was in my fifth semester, the results of the fourth semester examinations were announced 20 days prior to the day the fifth semester examinations were going to get started. And I started studying. I studied a lot. I managed to pass the fifth semester because of the 20-day
So
study.
at that time,
And
what was going through your mind, like in terms of career?
I'll tell you,
Because so you knew that they'll not allow you to sit in the placements, and like you have these banks. So like, were you thinking about clearing the exams and clearing the college first, or like were you thinking about your career? Like what was going through in your mind?
I'll tell you two things. Uh, I talked to a lot of friends, as I told you about it.
Mhm.
Many of the friends just gave me awesome suggestions. And it was at that point in time that I really got to know about the startup world, got to know about this different world that exists on websites like AngelList.
Mhm.
So that from where I can get inspiration, from which don't care about these people don't care about grades. These people will actually see through them. It won't be like a herd mentality, a class mentality, wherein if you're have 70% in your semesters, then you'll be able to even sit for the interviews and stuff like that. I knew that there was this world, and I thought that that is my point of revival. That is where I can shoot my shot. But yeah, so I had that in mind. And the second thing that I wanted to do at that point in time was key. I wanted to pass. I wanted to make sure that my engineering should be back on track. I should be able to clear all my exams. I should be able to clear my third semester, fourth semester exams, pass in the fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth semester examinations without any backlogs. I got really serious, but at the same point in time, you have been through a phase which is really sad for a year. You haven't studied at all. You have been in a state of mind where you haven't been motivated at all. So the time that it takes for you to get back on track and find that motivation from within, it it happened with me that it took me about 6 months to actually even sit for 3 or 4 hours a day and focus on the things that were ahead of me. I was trying to focus on things, but I don't know, somehow my mind wandered because I wasn't in that flow for a very long time. And I felt key the only solution that I saw was key the only thing that I can do is I can focus. Let me focus. Let's see what the results are. Let's see if I'll be able to crack a job in a startup. So I started off with two things. I As soon as the examinations came by, like whenever only a month was left for the exams and all, I started studying about for 2 hours, 3 hours a day.
Mhm.
Except for that, apart from that, I started utilizing all the online resources, I started visiting websites like edX. I started off as a web development guy. So I started off doing basic HTML, CSS, started learning about JavaScript and stuff like that. I looked at all of the requirements of these startups. What are they looking for? What was their job requirement? What are the must-haves and stuff like that? And I was trying to gain those skills focus along with spending time on passing my exams. That is how I approached the problem. Fifth semester, I didn't have any traction at all. I was able to pass, but I didn't gain any skills because I don't know. I'd lost a lot of focus before that. But sixth semester was the time when I started thinking, yeah, now I'm in a bit of a good space. Now I'm actually able to focus on things. I'm actually getting back on track. So I started learning a lot about startups. What are they thinking? What do they want? What are the product based companies looking for? Is there a way for me to get in? And I started developing those skills. It was in my sixth semester that one of our friends, Samarth, he was also an enthusiast, so related to tech enthusiast. So he suggested me ki, let's go to this particular academy that teaches iOS development, and let's try to learn from there.
Mhm.
I said, okay, whatever the world throws
What
at me
was
right now, I tried to.
what was that
Yeah,
academy? Did you go to a place to learn, or
yeah. So the name of that place was Ami Logics. Okay, so we didn't learn shit. So most of these academies, most of these training institutes that tier three college students get attracted to, it's way better. I'll tell you this, it's way better if you're really interested in a career in tech. Those two months that you get for training in the sixth semester, right? Use those months to create a side project. You'll learn way more than these people are going to teach you.
Mhm.
Spend some time on DSNL goals. Spend some time on creating some side projects that are going to help you. And these are the things that will actually take you forward. With these training people, they're going to teach you for an hour or two. They'll tell you that you're going to do a lot of live projects. And by live projects, they mean they'll help you make a calculator. They'll help you make a calendar app. Basic, not even a good calendar app, just a calendar app that displays the dates. That's it. So you won't learn at all. You won't learn what is a production level code, how to
how
develop
did you
problem solving
how did
skills.
you get interested in iOS, and like how did you develop your skills?
So I'll tell you this: the major reason I was, along with Summer, the major reason I was interested in iOS development was that I had a MacBook. I
Mhm.
had the opportunity to have an iPhone, and most of the people who have a MacBook and an iPhone, they don't do iOS development. They are basically they are they are basically rich brats who don't want to study, who don't want to do coding mainly. Okay,
Mhm.
so I thought this is a good opportunity. This is a market where the demand will be very less and the supply will be very high, especially in India. So I skated to where the plug is going to be, not where it had been. And that is what got interested me in iOS development. I started off, so I went to Amilogics, I learned a little bit about it. And then I saw a few courses online, mainly Ray Wenderlich and AppCoda, these few people who taught about building scalable iOS apps and all. I started following their tutorials. And with the help of that, I was able to land my first internship in the sixth semester in a company called HTTP Cart.
Mhm.
Special mention to the folks at HTTP Cart, Karmesh and Praveen. They had been really helpful in the initial stages of my career. So they were the people who were actually working on good iOS projects. At that point in time, I used to attend college till 3, used to study for classes, and then at 6:30 I went to HTTP Cart, spent good 4 or 5 hours there, drove back home at 11 or 12, sometimes of the day, but it was really worth it. I got to know a lot. Uh, it was the first time I was actually being mentored by someone who knew tech, not the usual teachers and all. I knew what was happening, what real projects are.
Did
That
you
is how my
how did you get into HTTP card? Like how did you get the internship? Where did you apply?
So I'll tell you. There's this friend of mine called his name is Devashish, and he helped me get into it. So what happened was I told him that I was trying to do this iOS development stuff and things like that. So he told me ki I know a guy who requires an iOS developer intern, and I asked him to contact me. He contacted me. He gave me a basic menial task, and he saw if I was capable of writing some code. And by that time, I'd learned a lot online, and I
How
was
how did
able
you
to.
how did you know this Devashish guy? Like was he or
He was a friend. He was my school friend.
okay?
Okay, so at this point in time where you don't have much options left, right? You can rely on a few people who you know are good.
Mm-hmm.
For example, get opportunities from wherever you can, because most of the learnings happen online or from people, and people who are really there to help you, right? Those are the people that you need to go to. And don't At this point in time, don't go to the top when you have seven backlogs and when you're really in a shitty place. Don't go to the toppers. Don't go to the people who are doing well in colleges, because they don't have a lot of knowledge about what's actually happening. Go to some people who are actually faced the same situations that you have faced and they came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Try to build these kind of contacts, try to build these kinds of networks and stuff like that. They'll really help you. You need to identify those people. I believe that along with skills, the most important skill that you can have is finding people who are really helpful to you.
Okay.
Because yeah, because that is going to take you places. Even if you don't know anything, they'll open a lot of doors for you. You'll get to know what is actually there outside.
Mm-hmm.
uh, that is very, very important. That was very important for me personally. My friends and my contacts at that point in time helped me a lot.
Yeah. So
So
so like let's say like if you didn't had those contacts, right? Then like do you think like you would have gotten the same opportunities or?
I think the reason being is key, contacts are not something that you already are born with or you already have.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're trying to struggle, once you're trying to have some breathing space,
Mm-hmm.
you'll absolutely find these people by yourself. When you're going online and when you're trying to look at the iOS development resources, you'll for sure get the contact with someone who knows iOS development, who's out there to help you. You'll develop those contacts. If there is a will, there is a way, is what I'll say. Because these people, they'll get in touch with you if you're actually doing something good.
Mm-hmm.
uh, One way or the other, if you're trying to achieve something, you'll develop those contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Be proactive about them. Just be proactive about them.
So like after like getting the internship and like learning at the internship, so then like how did you manage both college plus internship plus like preparing for your backlogs? So like you had to do three tasks at the time.
I was in survival mode at that point in time. I was in after I got those four backlogs. I had total seven backlogs. I had recently purchased a phone called Me 3. I gave it away. I sold it, and I bought a 900 rupees ka Intex ka phone because I wanted no distractions at all. I didn't have a lot of people's contacts in my phones. I didn't talk to a lot of people except for a few, two, three people who I knew are good.
Mhm.
That was the only way for me. I dedicated most of my time to learning things, to find a way out of the situation that I have created for myself, and coming out of it. And the most important factor at that point in time, I think the backlogs have held me. They have not degraded me, or they have not given my career a slow start at all. I think those were the things that motivated me, because at that point in time, the only thing that was there in my mind was, I need to prove these college folks wrong. I need to prove that even after having seven backlogs, you can do a lot of things. These teachers, they used to fill up students' minds ki if you have backlogs, if you are failing in college and stuff like that, you're a shithead. You're not going to do anything in life. And that was my motivation. Ki,
Did you sit for any mass recruiter placements or like any placement?
hmm. So I didn't sit for any placements because I was not eligible for placements since I had a lot of backs, and the teachers used to treat the people with back like third world citizens, basically slaves, people who are not capable of anything. I saw a lot of my friends getting placed. Facebook and Instagram and all these things were full of people who told ki I just got placed, first placement, and I was deeply happy for them, obviously, but deeply depressed within. I have really fucked my life up. This hasn't happened with me before. I was always a bright kid. And where the most important point in my life is the point where I didn't study and I got those depressing ideas in my head. But I had this urgent fire in me that said, Ki, you need to perform better than these people. The only way you can prove yourself, the only way you can get out of the situation is if you do something which is going to render all of these people that in awe. They'll basically be like, this guy has actually came out of the situation and we're proud of him. And that is what I wanted to achieve. And that is why I basically at that point in time, I had everything kept aside. The only thing that I used to uh, find solace in was Game of Thrones, because that was a world that I could be lost in. My current reality was so bad that there was an alternate reality which I could live in and be happy about. So I, as cocky as it may sound, but Game of Thrones is something which has helped me in my career a lot.
Okay, that might be the first person saying that. So like,
Yeah,
so how did you get like your first job then? So after internship and after college, like you still had like some backlogs, and like you were still a three-year college student, right? So like, how did you get your first job with all this?
correct. My first focus was, before engineering ends, I need to get rid of all of my backlogs.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get rid of them when I was in my seventh semester, and
Mm-hmm.
now we had the eighth semester left. And at this point in time, I basically realized that I am in deep shit. I don't know what I have to do after the college ends. Most of my friends were placed. All of my friends were placed, and then I gave a few interviews for a few companies in Jaipur, and I wasn't interested in joining them at all. The pay scale
How
was
did you
bad.
how did you get those interviews from college or like from your personal
So
contact?
so there are so yeah. So what happens is, you need to be aware again. You need to look at all of the job portals and stuff like that. You need to proactively apply on those. It's very important. Even if you feel you don't have the skills for a particular job, apply. Even if you go for an interview, as Richard Branson puts it, if you don't have the skill for a job, learn it on the job.
Mhm.
Just apply. Try to apply for these people and try to see what their interview process is like, because that will give you a lot of boost in terms of the things that you need to get in. So I started applying for all these job opportunities that were thrown on the internet. I applied for a company, I won't name the company, in Jaipur. I got in. So by that time I was studying. I started studying. I had a decent, good enough knowledge about problem solving and stuff like that. So I got in, but that was not something that I wanted to do. So that job offer was like, if you're not going to say yes or no in the next 10 or 15 days, that then the offer is null and void. So the offer got null and void. Eighth semester exams went by. I didn't have a job at all. It was, I believe, April. uh, at that point in time, I was in the I was basically surviving to breathe. I was breathing to trying to breathe. That is. So
Mhm.
I tried to do everything that I could. I started looking at the job opportunities being thrown on my way. I bought this book called Corman, which is the holy grail for DS and Elgos, and I started studying from it. Then one thing happened, that one of our friends, Samarth, he got into a really good product based company, uh, because of his skills in iOS development. So I realized, hey, only DSNL goes are not going to help, and it's not the most optimal solution if you want to find a job fast.
Mhm.
Because if you're going to do DSNL goes, it'll take 3 or 4 months time. Then you need to develop skills in a particular domain, and then you can maybe apply for a good company. And but if you're having a lot of pressure on you, if you're feeling that you first need to get a good job and then maybe you can focus on DSNL goes, so I decided I'll go the latter way. I'll first focus on developing a domain based skill, and then I'll maybe learn about DSL goals and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So Samarth, he got a job because of his domain level skills, and that motivated me. That told me, yeah, matlab, without DSL goals also you can get a very good decent job. So I was inspired by that. I started looking at a lot of job portals specifically for the field that I was trained in, iOS development, and I started applying for those. I started applying to a lot of companies. Initially, I started coding. At that one time, most of the companies, they used to hand out tasks. You had to complete
So
those
which
tasks.
platform were you using for applying? AngelList or like
Uh, yeah, so mostly AngelList, Naukri.com, Shine.com. But I'll tell you this: AngelList and LinkedIn. These two are the things that you need to go to when you're applying for a job in startups mainly, and in good product based companies. Okay.
like at that
For
time, what things you had in your resume? So for example, like you were doing iOS development. So like, did you create any projects, put them on GitHub, or like did you have any internship experiences? Like what did you put in your resume, and like how did you made sure that you are getting interviews and like you are getting shortlisted for those companies?
Got it. So the two major things that stood out on my resume were the 4 months of internship experience that I had, the
Mhm.
things that I did there, and I had created a few personal projects till then. Watching few of the tutorials and stuff like that, I basically created an app that used to locate restaurants, bars, pubs nearby based on your Google Maps data. Very simple app.
Mhm.
But yeah, but most of the college students don't even do that.
Mhm.
And I created another project that basically used a third party API to identify objects in a picture,
Mhm.
and integrated that, used AV Foundation and stuff like that to know what's actually happening. Made basic network requests and stuff like that. So I had the basics of iOS development clear by then. So I had that standing out, and that helped me get the attention of a few companies, because most of the college students, they don't know even that much about iOS development. They haven't had any real internship experience. They haven't built any side projects. Their GitHub is basically a calculator app or stuff like that. That is also made in old age technologies, 30 years old technologies like Java. Most of these training institutes, they train you on those languages. So yeah, I had that going for me. That was the thing that held me. So even after that, even if I applied for like 10 jobs, I got a call back from one. And then most of the times I used to fail because the task that they had given me, the coding standards were not up to the mark, because I was a fresher. No one was there to guide me through it. The folks at HTTP card were helpful, but still, it was my first time doing any real world uh, 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 tasks that are actually required by these companies. I yeah, so starting from April end, basically, I believe when our last examinations were held, starting from April end to the end of May, I was constantly applying. I was constantly working on projects that had been given to me. It was the time only time in my life that I had worked so hard. Basically, I used to sleep for like 6 7 hours, and then the rest of the day I only coded. I only coded and I only applied, and that grew my skills exponentially.
Mhm.
The That was the turning point in my life. That was the point where I would have said, yes, that was the very famous image that is being shared, your comfort zone where the magic happens. That was the point where I was in that magic happens wala zone.
Mhm.
I was working hard. I was doing a lot of coding challenges, a lot of coding exercises. I was trying to do a bit of algorithms and stuff like that. And then after applying to a lot of jobs, I finally got my first offer from a company called Deltex in Mumbai. I was really happy. The offer was better than what most of the
What
college students had.
kind of company is it? Is it a product company or like?
So it is a B2B product company.
Mhm.
What they did was they created a container app for most of the daily purposes of a large organization which had a lot of people. For example, attendance management, for example, leave tracking, all these stuff they used to put into a single container app instead of creating many different apps for that. They used Cordova and created a customized solution for the people in need, creating a lot of micro apps inside the main container app, and then used to sell it to them. I think I was one of the few people from the college who actually got into a product based company.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was what Drona HQ Deltex basically did. That was my first job.
So then, like, at what point? So were you happy with your job, and like, what at what point you decided that it's time to move on to a like better job? And because like now you're in
Yeah,
India, right? So that is like one of the good product-based tech startups in India, right? So like,
yeah.
what time you decided like it's time for me to move on, and like, how did you ended up like applying for in NVIDIA?
So while I was in Deltex, uh, I wasn't particularly a fan of the tech stack they were using. They were still using a lot of old technologies,
Mhm.
and the process was very slow in terms of deployments, and the changes were minimal. So it helped me grow. It helped me learn a lot of things. It helped me learn the industry standards. First time working with a superbly large code base that is there on production since the last 4 or 5 years. But it wasn't for me. I wouldn't say that the tech stack was wrong or something. I'd just say that I was looking for different challenges that would actually help me grow. So I started applying again after 7 months, I believe, and I got into my first company that was a consumer based product company called Bill Easy.
Mhm.
So I was the sole iOS developer there. I basically they had a small app which was written in Objective C, and I was responsible for creating most of the components of that app. And I'll tell you this: the 1 year I was at Belize, my life had my skill level had drastically changed. The amount of challenges that I faced daily, I was almost working for 10 to 11 to 12 hours a day. I don't know. Sometimes a day I was sleeping 4 or 5 hours. I had my first good mentorship with Yash Thakur. Yeah, so he was the lead Android developer at Belize at that point in time,
Mhm.
and I saw good, basically the basis of a good consumer product. The nitty gritties of a good consumer product. What are the things? What are the challenges? Everything. Seeing a startup grow from a team of 10 people to scaling their users up and stuff like that. It was the first time that I saw that in Belize, and that had helped me grow massively. I learned a lot over then. I mean, the most important learnings that I have had in my career, few of them are from Belize.
Mhm.
Significant amount of them are from Belize. And while I was at Belize, I felt the need of mentoring. So you get to learn a lot if you're a solo developer, if you're doing everything on your own. But then again, there are a lot of things you'll learn if there is a good mentor to help you.
Mhm.
And that is why I decided to work for a company where there were a lot of developers who were better than me, who were more senior than me, and who knew a lot about the things that are happening in the market currently. So I decided to switch to a company called Servify.
Mhm.
That was again also massive. Every decision, every switch that I made in my career, that was a great learning experience for me. In Servify, I got a great mentor. I got a great friend today. His name is Satish, and Satish and I, we worked on some really cool things. A lot of things that required front end machine learning and front end manipulations and a lot of mathematics and stuff like that. I implemented a HDR, Tom Merton's HDR algorithm, which required a lot of graphics related knowledge, and that opened up a different field for me entirely. Basically, a field full of uh, GPU side rendering frameworks and stuff like that. And that is how some of it is still, I think, patent pending, the stuff that we did over there. And that is when I really started to grow as a uh, deeply technical person. I mean, the person who works on machine level stuff, a person who likes to explore most of the things that aren't there on Stack Overflow, if you would say, uh, trying completely brand new things, finding creative solutions to problems that we face on a daily basis. That was the turning point for me as well. So that was everything that I did at Surfy, and the video. So while I was at Surfy, I did this session on video image processing,
Mhm.
and through that session, I got contacted by the CEO of InVideo, Sanket Shah,
Mhm.
and he told me that he's working on this video editing software, and then he told me about the scale at which the company is growing and what all is happening right now in the market. And I was amazed by it. I decided that it's the right step for me to currently dive deeply into this video editing experience.
Mhm.
And then I decided to apply for InVideo, and I got in. So there was this basic algorithm round, which I was mildly able to clear because I hadn't refreshed my algorithm concepts at all. But I somehow managed to clear that. Then there was an iOS round, and which was basically deeply technical questions on iOS development, a bit of video editing experience, and then I got into InVideo, and yeah, that is how I got into InVideo.
So basically, like he reached out to you based on your meetup or like the talk you gave in a meetup, right?
Yeah. It's basically Swift India meetup, Swift Mumbai meetup, on which I gave a talk, and he reached out to me from that.
So was he attending the meetup or like what?
So what happened was he there was this the organizer of the meetup. Her name is Akanksha.
Mhm.
She got contacted by Sanket because she has a lot of video editing experience, and she has worked on some really cool things.
Mhm.
And she told Sanket about me, and that is how Sanket got to know about me.
Mhm. So like now at in video, like are you enjoying your job? What is the work like? How is the culture like?
I'd say कि few of the companies that are actually caring about their employees, that are actually building some really cool things with the current tech stack, it's in video. Uh, People are really smart, and they actually work on deep problems, the problems that you usually don't encounter, the problems whose solution you won't find with a normal Stack Overflow search. Uh, it's amazing. I haven't really uh, been able to match up with few of the people's intellect at NVIDIA, and I'm still learning. But it's been great so far.
So what kind of things you're working on there?
Currently, we are trying to build the video editor on the mobile end and a render engine. We are done with the building of the render engine on the mobile. We are using Kotlin multi-platform for that, which will basically enable us to help keep the data model, the shared code on the multi-platform side, and the UI will be created in the native and on the native Android and iOS tech stack. So currently we have almost built the renderer,
Mhm.
and we have also worked on the video editor part. Uh, and there are a few things that are happening which I cannot talk about right now. You'll get to know about them soon. Those are the things
Like,
that we're working.
do you now take interviews at NVIDIA?
No, no. I am current. So the hiring process at NVIDIA is different. The mobile lead that we have, Sahil Bajaj, he is responsible for most of the NVIDIA interviews. If there is something which he thinks that a particular person should that a particular person would know better about, he would ask you to come up. But if there are things which he thinks that he can handle on his own, or someone else can handle better, then he'd ask that person to do it for them.
So for example, like let's say if there's a person who wants to get into in video, then what should he do?
Focus on your algorithms. In video, I'll tell you this: in video requires you to have a lot of conceptual clarity in the tech stack that you're working on. So if, let's say, you are an Android developer,
Mhm.
if you don't know the nitty gritties of Kotlin, if you don't know why a particular thing was done when Kotlin was being introduced, if you don't know the basics of algorithms, if you don't know about time complexities, if you don't know about the usages of different data structures, you won't be able to get in.
Mhm.
You need to have good amount of clarity on the things that you have worked on. It's not important how much knowledge you have.
Mhm.
It's more important कि whatever you have done, you have done correctly. You know about it. If your concepts are clear for the basic things, whatever you have done, then most likely you'll get in.
Mhm. So how do you like, for example, if I'm a student or if I'm learning about these things, if I'm learning iOS, then how should I get the clarity on concepts and how should I learn the nitty gritties, as you said?
Uh, every individual's process would be different, but I'd say this: never do rote copy and pasting.
Mm-hmm.
I know for development purposes, most of us, the terms are very alien. The things that are happening are very alien to us. We don't understand it, and we won't be able to understand most of it in the initial layers of our development cycle. Most of the basic things are there which I'm not able to understand as yet. I make rookie mistakes till now, even after 3.5 years of experience. But that doesn't mean you should not try to understand those things. Just copy pasting an answer, just trying to mimic what is there, not thinking about the solutions, just trying to Google them and stuff like that. That won't help you develop problem solving skills. Try to solve problems on your own. Try to explore the different solutions that may be available for a particular problem. If you're able to do that, if you have that capability and you have that curiosity of finding solutions to different questions, then you'll not just NVIDIA, any good company, any good startup, they just look for it, because that means that you can do things on your own. You really are looking for answers, and you really want to do some things which will help them create a scalable product.
So, like, for your company or like in startups in general, so what do you think? Like, what matters more? Algorithms and data structure skills like that, or the domain knowledge, or like a balance between both of them. Like, what things that matter more in career in general and like for clearing the interviews.
That is a very controversial question. Your entire Twitter is divided on it. The algorithms are for an interview versus domain knowledge for an interview. What all things? I'll tell you this. Uh, in my years of experience, algorithm. So the thing is, if you learn algorithms, you'll definitely learn problem solving abilities.
Mm-hmm.
The way you look at problems will be something which will force you to. You'll basically look at problems and try to solve them efficiently instead of finding the first solution that clicks your mind. If you're a if you're an avid algorithms fanatic and something like that. At the same time, I wouldn't get too much involved in the algorithm stuff because it doesn't directly help you.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the things that are going to help you will be your domain knowledge things, will be your domain specific things. Will be, for example, if you're doing a video editing solution, if
Like,
you're trying to build a
not
video
too
editing
much.
solution.
What do you mean by like not too much involving yourself in it? Like, what do you mean?
The only
Like I
Yeah.
don't know, like
So
just preparing before the interview and like not learning it constantly, or like just learning few topics. Like, what does that mean?
I'll tell you this. Every company's interview process will be different.
Mm-hmm.
Few of the companies will just look at algorithms. If you're able to clear, for example, Google itself, if you're able to clear algorithms,
No,
you're done.
I'm talking
You're
about mostly startups.
mostly startups will require you to have good enough understanding of the concepts of DS and algos. They will require you good startups. I'm talking about good product based startups, for example, Swiggy, Nvidia, Zomato, people like that. They will require you to have certain amount of algorithms knowledge, but they would also expect you to know a lot about your domain. For example, if you're applying as a front end engineer or a full stack engineer, they expect you have worked on these things, you have real world experience of working on scalable solutions. If you don't have that, you just know algorithms, even if you get in, you'll fail miserably. It will be very difficult for you to survive because you need to have that previous skill set. You need to develop that. So I personally will tell you this: if you are an engineering student who is in his third or fourth year and needs to get a job in like 2 or 3 months, don't focus too much on algorithms. Maybe give an hour a day, maybe give 2 hours a day to algorithms, but try to develop personal projects in whichever tech stack you're comfortable and whichever tech stack you want to become start off your career with. So initially, it's very important that you have some side projects or some real world experience with creating good softwares. But at the same time, at at one point in your career, you would be required to have a good enough knowledge about algorithms because that helps. And many of the people, their ground for judging is algorithms. So the companies which are tech agnostic, which are domain agnostic, they don't have any other thing to judge you on except for your knowledge and your problem solving skills on that they are only able to judge if you have good enough knowledge about algorithms and stuff like that. So yeah, matlab, if you have a lot of time, let's say you have 2 or 3 years to prepare, you're in second year, you're in third year, or you're just starting off and you're very chill and stuff like that, then for sure learn algorithms as much as you can while developing a few side projects parallelly. If you have a lot less time and you are aiming particularly for startups in the Indian ecosystem, then for sure try to develop as many side projects as possible. Try to learn a bit about algorithms as well because there will be at least one round for in most of the companies where they'll solely ask you algorithms and nothing else.
So like other than this, I wanted to ask like how did being from like tier three college like affected your career in general? Like, was it just for the first job, or like did it had any did it have any negative impact on your career as a whole?
I'll tell you this: there are a few biases that are around in the even in the startup ecosystems. Few of the companies they have clearly mentioned in their job description that only people from tier one colleges, IITs and ITs, DTUs, they need to apply. Else you cannot apply. But then again, if a company is really looking for good engineers, they wouldn't care about your degree at all. They would rather care about your level knowledge, or your knowledge in algorithms. That being said, a person from IIT, a person from BITS Pilani, they will be able to find better opportunities, because there is a trust that is always there whenever a person from a very good college comes and applies, that they have worked on really hard at some point in their life, or they're really intelligent, or cracked a very competitive exam, and they got in. So they must be good. This happens. There is a certain bias with everyone, but that wouldn't hamper you too much. It's like ki, if a person from IIT has a chance of cracking a particular interview, and I'll say the probability of him impressing the interviewer is zero point 0.9, and the probability of a person from a tier 3 college impressing the interviewer is 0.7, 0.75, and that can be worked on. Once you get into a very good company, once you get into a good product based company, your degree doesn't matter. Much of what matters is, for example, you. Now, no one would say ki he's from JCRC. Everyone will say ki he's ex Flipkart SD too. He got into Amazon. He cleared Amazon's interview and stuff like that. So you have proved yourself. At some point in time, you have proved you're better than most of the people that are out there. If you have that, if you have proved that somehow, then that develops a trust, and that will help you get better opportunities. People will contact you and trust in you. The trust factor will be there, but not so much. It won't be like ki just because you're not from an IIT or an NIT, you cannot develop a good career in tech. It doesn't mean ki you won't be able to get into good product-based companies at all.
Right, right. So, like, is there any negative impact of the college at all?
Negative impact will be there if you're not interested, if you're not studying, if you're not creating side projects. So what happens is ki a person from next year bits, he will be getting a lot of on-campus interviews. Wherever he'll apply, people will know ki he'll take at least 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, even in the starting of his career. And people will trust him. But if the same thing is done by an average Joe from a tier 3 college, people won't trust him and people won't pay him at all, because he hasn't proven anything. If you're curious, if you have good knowledge about your domain, if you're really interested in tech, it won't matter at all. Trust me, it won't matter at all. It's just your skills that will matter. If all you want to do is key basis the brand name that you have, basis the things that you have done in the past, which are not related to the things that you're applying for, you want to get into a company basis those, you won't be able to get in if you're from a tier 3 college.
So, do you have any final words for people who are in same situation as you were, like maybe 5 years back? People who have some bags and like they're thinking that their career is ruined. So, like, do you have any final words for those?
It will get better. It will surely get better. I believe people who have had backs in their college had the audacity to say fuck you to the education system, to say ki we are not affected by what you are teaching, we are
Mm.
not affected by your classist system, we will find a path on our own. Even if you are not someone who is passionate about things, just try to explore. I have known most of the people in my circle, they're those who had backs, they are way more successful than the people who were the toppers and who scored 90%, 85%. I can tell you numerous, you and I both know, numerous examples of people who have basically, most of the people who didn't score good in academics, they're the ones who are rocking the world right now.
Cool.
Shout out to our good friend Jayesh Vengani.
Yeah, yeah, I, I remember.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, thanks for joining and like coming and sharing your journey and experience. So yeah,
yeah,
that's all I guess.
great, great.